Hello all, this is the image I'm making today. Hi! So I used my medium size, I think it's smaller than medium size, book, journal, art journal, and I'm presently cutting out a little birdie that I traced on tissue paper. I used an image from my daughter's coloring book. Yeah, that for this piece I wanted to use tissue paper. Ta-da! And that image, the tree, I actually did that on a peach colored tissue paper, but it didn't end up coming out on the journal. I didn't end up using it because the color was just a bit off. But I really, really like it, so I will use it in another piece. For this one, I know that I wanted to use kite paper or tissue paper. I love these colors, the green and the brown. Love, love, love them. And I also knew that I wanted to use the tissue paper image because I never really did that before. I saw it done. I've seen it done and I wanted to try it. So I was really excited to do it. And I also knew that I wanted to use the patterned napkin. So I was really excited about that. So now I ripped up some pieces and I'm trying to figure out what's going where, what I want to place, trying to figure out my composition basically. So I'm just ripping up my pieces and working towards getting it looking kind of like what I probably want it to be. But usually I just know what I want to use, even if it's just two things, and then that's usually all I know. I don't normally know, like I don't have a whole image in my head. I just know, okay, I want to use this, I want to use that, I want to use the other, and then I use it, and things just kind of fall in as I go along. So I got my napkin there, and trying to figure out where to fit them in. I didn't want it to cover everything. I just, kind of wanted it in between. So I'm just working my pieces around. Here I am stripping my napkin because the napkin comes in layers. So I took off the layer. This one only has two. Some of them has three, but this one only came with two layers. So I separated that using piece of masking tape. And now I'm gonna, isn't it pretty? Oh my gosh, so girly and pretty. So I just kind of trying to figure out, what's gonna go in the white spaces basically, because I'm trying not to cover up the stuff, the other areas. So I'm just gonna spend some time doing that and we'll see how it goes. Mod Podge to put my pieces down and my camera skipped out, so the bird, which is what I pointed to, came out. I put it on in the corner, but my camera stopped and I didn't realize. So right now I'm choosing my focal point. I'm trying to decide which one to use, which one looks best on the page. My daughter was looking at it with me and she felt that this butterfly worked better. She's like, that one. But I was like, well, I'm sorry, but I already did it. This was the one I used. So I'm using a marker. It's actually a CD writer. You know what you write on your CDs with to label them? Yeah, I'm using that to outline my butterfly and then paint in my image. So this is the first time ever that I am actually painting my butterfly from, well, it's not really from scratch because I trace it, but yeah, this is the first time I'm gonna try it and I was excited. So I'm using gesso to put, to help show up the paint. Yeah, because the background is very in your face. So I'm gonna dull the background. That's it. I'm dulling the background with the gesso so that I could paint over it, paint the butterfly colors with it. And I actually used two layers because the first one was a bit it was still too transparent. So I ended up using two layers of gesso and then I painted in. So now we have the butterfly gessoed twice and dried, and I'm going to use my number 2 watercolor brush. It's a very cheap brush that I bought in a variety store, and this is my sun yellow and my neon orange paint, and that cover is my painting tray. It's from a butter container. So I'm just gonna use those two colors to paint the inside of my butterfly. I'm also using from Art Advantage. These are, what are they, boy? My goodness, it's burnt sienna and I can't remember that color. I think it's vermilion from that set. I think it's vermilion. So now I added some water and I'm mixing in my colors. So this was a bit difficult for me because in my mind I had it coming out differently. I mean, it doesn't look too bad here now that I'm looking at it, but it was challenging for me personally to mix those two colors because I did the orange on top and, well, I call it orange because, I mean, it's orange and yellow. It's just a fancy name. So I used those two colors and, I spent quite a while trying to blend in the orange and okay, let me try and say the right name. It's vermilion. Trying to blend the orange and the lemon yellow together so it doesn't look like, like it's separated by a line. So I spent some time there trying to get that in and blending it and making it, so you could see it well and you could actually see the butterfly nicely and it's nice and rich and not watery looking and, yeah, it's nice and rich. So I'm going to spend some time working on that and I'll let you hear some more music. done painting in the background of the butterfly. I like how that looks. So I'm gonna dry it with my heat gun. I like the opaqueness of it. It's not very see-through anymore. And I felt that the blend was good enough, you know. So now I'm drying it so I could start putting in my black marks. So here I'm actually just showing that I'm not wasting paint. I don't like to waste paint. So I had a lot still on my tray. So I decided to mop it up and put it on some index cards, which I will use in another project. So back to my butterfly. I'm cleaning up my tray here with all the dregs, you want to say? Yeah. So now I'm going to use black in my Art Advantage set to do the, you know, the pattern that the butterfly has that makes it so unique. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. I'm actually looking at because I don't know these things just from my head. So I'm looking at an image actually from Google, and I think this is a number 2 brush watercolor again. And as I said, this is the first time I'm doing this, so I'm hesitating. You know, I'm like, okay, do I start? Do I start? And I start. Yeah, I was really hesitating. I was like, okay, I don't know how to do this. You know, I don't want to put too much on, but I started and it was fine. So I'm spreading my paint, and actually when I did this, a lot of the footage didn't come out because again, my camera stopped and I didn't know. So you'll see a very small piece of the left wing and then the completed set, which I was very upset about. Very, very upset. But I said, you know what? I'm still gonna, it's fine. You know, these things happen. I just have to make sure I have enough space next time. Thought I did, but I guess I didn't. So yeah, I'm putting in my marks. I was trying to do it exactly how it was in the picture, but then because of how my background is, I decided to just fill it in, and that's what I did. I filled in all, instead of leaving space between the edge and another black line. I just say, you know what? I'll just fill it all in and bring it into the edge. So yeah, this is basically my finished piece. I was doing the top there. Yeah, see, all that work was not shown. So now I'm gonna sign it and put the date. I usually put the date because, you know, for me it helps me to remember when I did it and how long I take between projects. And yeah, I like to see the date. And then years later you look at it and it's like, wow, I did this then? It's amazing. Anyway, so this is it. Thank you so much for watching and for sticking with me and watching throughout the whole thing. So I have some different angles and different shots. I'm still wondering whether I should tone down the back because the brown is pretty harsh, but I still haven't touched it, so I don't know. But thank you again and leave your comments.